Okay, so we've talked about what is unconscious bias. We've also talked about what I call the backpack theory within how we can get unconscious biases. And we have briefly looked at three types of unconscious bias, namely confirmation bias, affinity bias, and anchor bias. And so now what? What are we going to do about it is probably what you're asking yourself. I mean, yes, you've explained something to me, but what next? Well, what do we do about it? How do we become aware of our unconscious biases? How can we deal with it? Simply put, it is about reflection. And it's simple, but I can assure you it's extremely difficult. So when I talked about the backpack theory, for example, it is about being brave. It is about asking yourself, do you have the courage to take that backpack off your back, unzip it, look inside it, and ask yourself, is that still relevant? That little story that I threw in there to keep me safe and to remind you it was about the person from Kerala that hurt you very, very badly when you were 15 years old. Is that relevant anymore? Or should I just take it and throw it in the bin or flush it down the toilet? And then try and be more friendly towards people from Kerala. Because that is the next thing. The first thing you have to do, if you can, and no one is going to make you do something that you don't want to do, but if you can, reflect, look back on your life, see if you have the courage to take that backpack off your back, look into it, ask yourself, do you want it there? If you still want it there, shove it back on your back, no problem. It's now a conscious bias. It is no longer an unconscious bias. But if you realize, hang on a minute, why have I got that in there? From a 15-year-old story that isn't even relevant anymore. I've moved on, I'm in a different place, I'm happy. Why am I bothering? Then flush it down the toilet, and then what do? You go and consciously seek a connection with those groups of people or situations that you have been unconsciously avoiding for the last X number of years. That could be difficult because it's out of your comfort zone. Therefore, even though it is about reflection, it is also about being strong and about being brave. Because to be out of your comfort zone is not an easy thing to do for any of us. And therefore, you must ask yourself if you want to do it. If you don't want to, that's totally fine. But try at some gentle, simple levels. So for example, if you are in a social gathering, perhaps go and seek that person out, and if you have an instinctive, oh, I'm not sure about this person, I don't like them, that's your instinctive reaction, don't leave. Stay with them. Try and listen differently. Engage with them differently. Try and think positively about them. Challenge yourself while you're in that time and see if you can challenge that instinctive dislike that you had of that person. Easier said than done, but try. Have some fun with it. And that's all I can ask you to do. Maybe it's the example of you're a team leader and you're in a meeting, and while you're having the meeting you realize, whoops, you keep giving one person eye contact more than another. Well, the next time you have a meeting, because you've reflected, you've recognized that, ask yourself, why am I doing that? Why do I like that one person more than I do the others? So the next time you're in a meeting, look around. Try and engage with more people than you normally would. Perhaps the one that you find extremely annoying, you know you've got one of those in your team, smile at them more, engage with them more. Try and see the best in other people or situations. It might sound a bit cheesy to you, it might sound a bit idealistic to you, but the reality is, unconscious bias, simply put, is when we react to something without realizing it, and then the outcome is very unfair. So if you want to be better at your work, if you want to improve your teams, you want to be more creative and innovative, you want to be recruiting better and having better people when you're recruiting, you want to be a better leader, well, guess what? If you're not aware of your unconscious biases, you're not going to be able to do that so well. It is really that very simple. Unconscious bias is a very simple topic, but somehow I don't know why I visualize it like peeling an onion that we never finish peeling. You take one layer off, one more. You take one more, and you've got to keep at it. You've got to keep at it because it won't ever go away. You've got to keep reflecting. You've got to keep thinking back. You've recruited somebody today. On the way home, you think back and say, oh, Why did I look at that person? Was that fair? Was that right? Did I have any instinctive unconscious reactions to it? Should I have done it differently? So very, very simply put, how do I deal with my unconscious biases? Number one, reflect. Number two, challenge yourself. Number three, try and give yourself situations that give you the opportunity to challenge those unconscious biases. And number four, don't berate yourself when you make a mistake. It's totally fine, but don't give up. Thank you.